Welcome back to more RPG a Day 2023 with RevelOGM at RevelOGM Games. We're here with the final few days because it's a busy week, so we're bundling them all together and doing it all as one once again. The ones we have this week, I'm going to remember it this time, not this week, these 3 days, are Most Memorable Encounter, I'm assuming it's Most Obscure or An Obscure RPG you've played, and Favourite RPG of all time. Which 2 of these are tricky. One of these is pretty simple. So I'll leave you to guess which is which for a moment, and then we'll get into it. Most Memorable Encounter, first day 29. I struggled quite a lot with this. In part because I've run a great many. In part because I just don't remember those moments particularly well, and because in part, unless something incredibly dramatic happens, unless you yourself and your players are very into kind of narrative, descriptive combat, a lot of them will blend together. At least for me, they do. And it doesn't mean they're not exciting and fun at the time. They are, but after the fact, it's like, this was a cool fight. This was fun. But I rarely get in games to places where I can do like big set piece fights, just by the nature of how running things works. And things like Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that don't as much have big, encounters of that sense. I suppose it could mean any kind of encounter, but I'm kind of going with combat encounters, so I'll run with that, because I did eventually think of one, which is kind of the most memorable one, because it's the only one I could really think of, which is, again, in the one-shot I ran, which was serial level D&D 5th edition, The Day the Horseman rode on Truangard, I think it was called. I'll pin it again. It didn't seem to work. The cards didn't seem to be working, but I'll try it. It's on the channel. You can find it if you search for that. And one of the encounters towards the end of that was they were trying to get out of the city, and some of them were running while the others were fending off the guards. And they just kept rolling really well for a while, and they were holding them off, and it was just quite a heroic final stand for some of these characters, while the other ones ran into the distance to escape. And it was just pretty cool, and it was pretty fun, and it was quite an epic moment. And that's all it was. It was just when, these their luck can't last forever. I can't keep rolling horrendously, and they can't keep rolling well, so I'm just gonna... And eventually they did, fall apart, and they died, but it was a very heroic moment, and it was very cool. So that's day 29. Day 30, obscure RPG you've played, I think would be Dread. That's the only one I can really think of at present. I've played Microscope as well, actually. Microscope's... okay, honourable mention, Microscope. It's where you kind of create a world... using various questions and things in this TTRPG, and then you zoom in on certain events and things that happen, like Microscope. That's kind of cool, but I've barely played that in years, but it's pretty cool. But it's a very different style of game. But Dread's great because it's the only dice you have are a Jenga tower. There's no dice, and each time you have to make an important decision, not like a simple thing that your character will be able to do based on your backstory, which is just a bunch of questions and answers once again, but something that's actually going to be difficult, like jumping a huge gap, or trying to stab a werewolf or something, I don't know. You have to pull out a Jenga block, and if you pull it out, you do it. But if the tower falls, bad things happen, usually death, or potentially other big bad things, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Obviously it's more for like tense one-shot style games, horror or action horror, that kind of stuff, but it's a lot of fun. It's very cool. And finally, favourite RPG of all time. I don't know is my answer. I don't know. I enjoy Hex. I enjoy Call of Cthulhu. I like OSC. I like DCC. 5e's fine. Pathfinder, I'm really enjoying so far, but I've only been playing it a few months, so it's too soon to say. I've still got so many games on my shelf I haven't tried. I don't know. But those ones I mentioned, I like all of those quite a lot, but I don't think I have a most favourite of all time. I don't think I've been playing enough yet to really give an answer to that one. So I'm afraid I can't really give an answer to that yet. Maybe someday. But for now, that was RPG A Day 2023. Thank you for listening and watching, in fact, if you've stuck with us on this peculiar adventure. I will eventually get weekend one-shots on Ubiquity Hollow Earth Expedition out. And until that time, thanks for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.